again. I'm Dr. Carol Francis, and we're doing a series on narcissism and having a relationship with narcissism. In our society currently, we have a lot of swirl around narcissism that's just become part of our culture. It wasn't so much so before the 70s, but it's become gradually more and more increasing in our society, so we really have to take a good look at it and how it feels to be in a relationship with someone who is completely geared toward being narcissistic. So let me just define another aspect of narcissism that's very important, and it is the sense of entitlement. The belief that a person can ask you for something and they just expect it to be so. A person can ask you for something and just know that you have to do it or you should do it, like it's a law, it's an obligation. Or a person wants you to do something and it becomes a sign whether you love them or not. It is so grained that they're entitled to have you do things a certain way for them without regard to your independence or your preferences or your choice, or even that you are gifting something to them that they can appreciate. Everybody needs to ask for what they want. That's not the problem. But asking for what you want does not mean that it is controlling that other person to give it to you. That other person still has the right to say yes or no, or be glad to, or I don't really want to, or some variation of that. The other person is not controlled by your asking. The other person is not judged by their refusing. The other person is negotiated with in a way that's respectful to that person and also respectful to the needs that you want that other person to participate in. So you realize that there's kind of a compatible participation, a give and a take, but not a control. But when you're shifting into a narcissistic sense of entitlement, the person who manifests narcissistic qualities feels like what they are entitled to is the primary rule of the relationship, that is the expectation, and that anything outside that expectation is simply not acceptable and will be punished or responded to accordingly. Now, how does a narcissistic individual punish another person? They can withdraw the very thing that other person wants, such as love, attention, appreciation, and approval. How does a narcissist individual control? Well, it depends on the other person and what will control them. Sometimes being condescending and abusive will control the other person. Sometimes being flagrantly appraising and appreciating in a very controlling sort of way becomes a control component, especially if the praise is withheld when that other person doesn't conform. When everybody's conforming to one person's way that things should be, that person's in control. So whoever everybody's conforming to, that person's control. It could be a 2-year-old in a family of 5 adults. And if that 2-year-old is getting everybody else to conform to what they want, that 2-year-old's in control. When you take that 2-year-old and you grow that 2-year-old up and they never learn to negotiate and give and take and feel like they're part of everybody having control and impact and influence, that 2-year-old grows up and thinks everybody should be in their control, and if they're not, then it's wrong. And that's a narcissistic quality. If it's not my way, it's wrong. If it's not my way, it's devalued. If it's not my way, forget about it. If it's not my way, there'll be consequences. If it's not my way, that idea, we've often used the terms as, a person's being selfish, or they're egotistical, they're self-centered. These sorts of terms are related to that component of narcissism. So now, what's it like to have a relationship with someone with this aspect of narcissism? It's complicated. It's very complicated. For one person to say, I want it my way, another person to always be accommodating, if the other person, person B, is always the accommodator, then that person will run around and always try to make things just right for person A who's in control. So this person's always dancing around, accommodate, conform, and always tries to spiral everything associated to what this person is the person's defining as what needs to be done in that moment. So you can see person B does not have a life of their own, cannot really have thoughts or feelings of their own, cannot have wants and cannot have needs fulfilled of their own. The only time that this dance kind of works is when person B can make it such that it's in person A's best interest to get what they want to fulfill person B's needs. This is a very complicated dynamic, so that means you have to make this person who wants everything their way to perceive that their way is to give what person B wants. Now, that's where the trap often gets individuals stuck in a relationship that's not really very good. Because if person A can be manipulated by person B, but the person A really thinks that the world has to revolve around them, ever so often when person B gets what they want, kind of go, oh good, this relationship's good. And then they conform and adapt and focus on what person A wants so much. And then ever so often person A will give person B what they needs, and that keeps person B connected. The best way to keep anybody on a certain track, kind of stuck actually, is to ever so often reward them randomly, erratically reward person B in whatever way that person B needs, and that will keep person B connected to even the sickest of situations that person A dishes out. This is how abusive relationships work often. The person who's very, very abusive, in this case person A, very, very abusive to person B, will tear down person B until it feels like they're about to slip and leave for whatever reason, and then person A says, well, I can't let that happen, and then perceives, oh, I've got to pull them up a little bit, get them a little bit attached and connected. Person B goes, oh good, things are changing, and person A is being kinder and giving me what I need. Okay, I feel connected. Then person A goes back to being abusive. Person B begins to be harmed. Person A perceives, oh, I'm losing, so I'm going to lure them back in, give them what they need, give them what they need, give them what they need. Okay, person B is feeling kind of better now. Okay, good, I'm getting what I need. Person A has now got two connections or two ways of hooking person B. And this goes on and on and on until the person A has got person B very, very hooked into them, because ever so often, intermittently, they give person B what they need. And that makes person B think, well, there is love and I am getting what I need. And look at, they are trying and things are turning around, and then it slides down to being bad. Bottom line in this sort of situation, person A is not giving to person B out of love and respect, but out of trying to keep them entangled. Person A is not sitting there giving on a mutual basis, on a thoughtful basis, putting themselves second, or doing the dance of how to, at any given time, make this process work for the two of them. There's a very different attitude with someone who says, I know I do need this, how can we do this dance around my needs, versus this is what I need and this is what you're going to give me, and one way or another, that's the way it's going to be. Now, whether that's the energy or the attitude that's openly said, it is the energy and the attitude that is the undercurrent that is governing this type of connection. Well, I hope that helps you think a little bit more about what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who's narcissistic, and I hope you have a great day as you contemplate this and go out there and make the best of who you are and the best of your relationship. See you later. Bye.